we beat a good team tonight. Beat a team that's got a chance to win the SWAC and be an NCAA tournament team. We didn't have John he banged knees in the game against Winthrop, tightened up on him that evening, and hasn't been able to practice. He'll be fine for I think he'll be fine for Cancun. We'll see. As a result, we had a lot of changes. So Jalen Williams played a little 5, hadn't played D5 all year. Stretch got a couple of regular rotations. Dylan played a little bit more. Because Jalen had to play some 5, we got a chance to rotate Chris Moore at a little bit of 4. Played very well. Chance Restry played point and 3. I think obviously from a scouting standpoint, Wendell had been playing so well in our first 3 games that Johnny just wasn't going to let Wendell beat us. And so they doubled him a lot in those ball screens, and it bothered him. And but that's what your teammates are for. And I thought that we had a bunch of guys respond. And obviously Chris Moore played really well, and he is a team favorite, fan favorite, just because he's a great kid and works so hard and been so unselfish, kind of waiting his turn. It's good to see him play with confidence.
Questions?
Great balance too. I just think that was, something that was obviously evident, and I just think we did what we needed to do in this full game homestand. I do think we've gotten better. I do think we've learned, and we'll go from here.
Advice.
Bruce, Chris and Jalen mentioned about their bigs being physical and aggressive. How much did it hurt to not have Janai out there, considering what their bigs ready to do?
Well, I mean, obviously when you don't have your starting center, it could hurt some. They had 16 second chance points. But him not being out there didn't allow us to turn the ball over 20 times. We were sloppy with the ball, and that was an issue, for us, and particularly, that was a problem. That was a problem.
Brian Matthews.
Yes, Bruce, especially in the first half. Did that have a little bit of a feel of an SEC game with their physicality, the way they play defense, their length?
I mean, I thought those were older players, well-coached players, got in the gaps, stripped and ripped us, and we weren't strong with the ball, and we didn't execute very well. We did a much better job in the second half. The offense is in front of me. I thought our spacing, our timing, and perhaps, obviously a little bit of fatigue from Texas Southern playing their, having played Wednesday night, we played Tuesday night.
Bruce, with Janai out, how big was it for Jalen to come up with that game? He had 14 points and led y'all rebounds, assists, steals.
Yep, I thought Jalen played well. I didn't think his first rotation was good, and that same thing with Dylan. They both needed to play better earlier when you're starting centers out. It just took us a little bit while for those guys to get going. But the sum of our parts, that's our greatest strength.
Mark Murphy.
Bruce, in the second half, you had a really small lineup out there, but you were quick and athletic, and you got a lot of fast break points. Talk about that.
Well, the key to that was the rebound. The key to that was the fact that Jalen or Chris or whoever it was, Al, got on the boards, and even Wendell had 4 defensive rebounds. Al had 4 defensive rebounds, and we got out, and we went, and that was really key. That easy offense made a big difference. But it started with defending and rebounding, and then we got those outlets and really hurt them in transition.
Oak.
Just talk about the way your team kind of responded. I mean, I think it was 31-29. Maybe they took that lead. Things started to get chippy, and from there, it seemed like they grew up a little bit right there.
One of the things I told them is, look, we need a close game. I'm like, these guys are older. They're not, they've played Texas Tech, Houston, at San Francisco. They're not intimidated by any of us. And so they're going to be in this game. I think that surprised my kids when I said, no, this is going to come down. It's going to be fairly close. And I just think they've been able to kind of blow people out. When it did get elevated, our guys did definitely respond. And that was a bit of a turning point. KD got a really hard foul. And I didn't like all the time it took we had a TV timeout. We looked at this. We looked at that. Officials handled it. It was a flagrant one. But I thought our guys definitely responded to the physicality and all the talk.
Ike?
Yeah, Coach, you talked about KD just now. Can you comment a little bit about like just his aggressiveness and his intensity just being something that you guys are able to corral a little bit, but still use to get momentum?
I think you've said it perfectly in the sense that he was still intense, he was still aggressive, but he was under control. He did it with purpose, and he's been really working. He's been working really hard to do that. To letting us coach him, and he was really, obviously really effective out there. Good to see his shot go in. Want him to cut down his turnovers.
Berg?
Bruce, what are you looking for your guys most next week in Cancun? What do you want to kind of find out about your guys the most?
Well, obviously we'll be away from the friendly confines, and how we'll be able to respond. What's the chemistry going to be like now? Because we're playing 11 guys, 12 guys tonight with stretch, and so everybody's going to kind of, what's my role? They're going to start getting calls from home. You only played 10, 12 minutes. You only got so many shots. Why aren't you playing more, doing more? And if we could just, kind of not worry about that stuff and know that it's going to be a different guy every night, these guys are, it appears to me like they've done the work off the court to come together. And so therefore, from a chemistry standpoint, when we do face some adversity, and when they do get asked, well, why aren't you playing more? Because my teammate's out there, right?
Advice?
How nice was it to see Zep put a few in the bucket? Put a few in the basket.
It was great to see him, play with confidence and didn't turn the ball over and, be Zep. It was good.
This is fun because sometimes we talk about his offense, but we don't talk about much of his offensive play.
Yeah, he made a few nice plays in the lane. He played really efficiently. I don't know that I'll put him on a foul line again on a technical foul when that was wide left.
Mark Murphy?
Chris Moore looks like he's really taking advantage of his opportunity to play more.
Chris is healthy. He doesn't have, he got that rod in his leg in the spring. He had that surgery. He was playing on a stress fracture last year, and he was a beast. And love his physicality. I love Al and Chris out there, and I love their physicality.
And Henry?
I thought they were both patient. So here's a stat line at the 3 spot. You ready for this? So, Hal's 19 points and 12 rebounds, 6 assists and 3 turnovers, 4 steals, 1 block. That's a very productive line from Alan Flanagan and Chris Moore.
Coach, I know Bradley obviously plays tomorrow night. We'll have to see that game. Just talk about those 3 teams. I mean, you got great coaches there. Richie McKay, Chris Collins, and I forgot the Bradley coach's name. But just talk in general about those 3 teams we may match up against.
You guys know I take them one at a time. I truly, truly, truly do. And so, I think, as Marlene indicated, I guess one of the features of this tournament would be the coaches. Some really, really good coaches. And so, I can't even begin to tell you what game plans are going to be because I haven't studied them yet. We did a little bit of summer work on them, but we've had 4 games in 12 days. So, and we got, 3 more games now in the next, probably, today's Friday, 8 days, 8 or 9 days with St. Louis coming in Sunday. So I wish I could tell you more about the field, but I can't.
Good.
Sure, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here.
Yep.